The 2020 Formula 1 season hasn't quite gone to plan for Alexander Albon. 18 months on from his promotion to Red Bull, just 12 races into his Formula 1 career, he is now on the verge of losing a drive in Formula 1 altogether. Albon is currently sitting in 9th place in the drivers' standings, almost 100 points behind teammate Max Verstappen, but what is more surprising is that he is just 1 point in front of ex-Red Bull employee and AlphaTauri driver Pierre Gasly. Alex did have a strong start to the season, on course to potentially winning or at least a podium in the first race of the year at the Austrian Grand Prix, a top 5 finish in the following 2 races. It seemed that momentum was building from the 2019 season. Another 5th place only a couple of races later at the 70th anniversary Grand Prix only cemented that idea that Red Bull had finally found their second driver alongside Max Verstappen. But ever since that second race at Silverstone, things haven't quite been on track for Alex Albon, featuring in the top 5 only once in the past 8 Grand Prix, and in the past 4 Grand Prix since his podium at Mugello has only scored 1 single point. Things seem to be crumbling for Alex, but we're all aware there is talent there. There's a driver who competed with George Russell, with Lando Norris for that Formula 2 title a couple of years ago. His promotion to Formula 1 against Danny Kvyat, those 12 races in that Toro Rosso were pretty awesome if you ask me. His promotion to Red Bull was warranted, and actually many of the performances at the end of last year were proof that Alex did mean business. That race in Belgium, some audacious overtakes, some of the best of the season in one Grand Prix, several fights from the back of the field thanks to engine penalties from that Honda engine, a couple of mistakes, but it was his rookie season, that's to be expected. And as such, there was an expectation that bar would be elevated this year. Alex would be able to be closer to Verstappen, challenge for podiums on a regular basis, and with Ferrari crumbling, it was almost a guarantee, surely, that it would be Mercedes 1-2, Red Bull 3-4, maybe a bit of a mix if there was a strategy call at play or a bit of weather in the air. What has actually played out in 2020 is that we have our top 3 and our midfield, which has meant the story of this year has been brilliant. But from a Red Bull perspective, things need to change. And whilst I think it will be fantastic for Red Bull to sign up a guy like Sergio Perez, like Nico Hülkenberg, that have never had that opportunity to thrive within a top team and fight for regular podiums, I very much believe Alex Albon still deserves a chance in Formula 1, and that's what I want to discuss today in today's episode of Formula 1 Transfer Talk. So, as always, if you are new, feel free to subscribe. I hope you all enjoyed today's episode of Transfer Talk. Hitting that like button really helps out the channel, so if you could just spare a couple of seconds, that would be very much appreciated. But I've selected 3 options for Albon for next year. Currently, things aren't looking too rosy in terms of the driver market and Alex Albon's future in Formula 1, but I think there's a slim chance these options could come to fruition and could help out these 3 teams and the future progression of Alex. The first one, it's the most obvious one, it's staying at Red Bull. I've made it clear already in this video and several videos on the channel. I believe in Red Bull's best interest, a change has to be made. They need a driver that can back up Max Verstappen, that can be there, not necessarily scoring podiums every weekend, but on the fringe of that podium. If there's a failure from Verstappen or either of the 2 Mercedes, it needs to be that second Red Bull driver who has the second best car on the grid to be able to pick up the spoils. At the moment, Alex isn't doing that, and I think a driver like a Sergio Perez, like Nico Hülkenberg, is going to bring a whole host of brilliant features for Red Bull to be able to dispose against Mercedes and try and crawl back a little bit in the title hunt for next year. From an Alex Albon point of view, I also think leaving Red Bull is the right decision. Yes, staying at Red Bull, he will have a top car. Out of all the options available to him, the Red Bull car will be the best opportunity to win Grand Prix, score regular podiums, and finish the highest up in the driver's standings. However, being under all that pressure, under the spotlight, at being at a top team that can win races, being Max Verstappen's teammate, For a driver that's only in their second season, that's a lot to handle. Partner that with all of the media speculation that he's going to be moving, he's not good enough, you can understand why confidence at the moment is at an all-time low. It would be brilliant if Alex was able to refine that little bit of mojo for the end of this season, the final 4 races, Turkey, the 2 at Bahrain and Abu Dhabi, maybe a couple of podiums, some 4th place finishes, rebuilding that confidence. Maybe, just maybe, they should consider keeping him. But what was fundamentally clear in the previous 2 races, Portugal and Imola, was that Alex Albon had 2 chances to prove to Red Bull he deserved to be there. The most high-pressure scenario of his career, and ultimately a 12th and 15th place finishes, suggests to me a new challenge, a new venture is needed for Albon to resurrect his career. And the most obvious and probably best place to start that rebuilding process is back where it all began, AlphaTauri. We've seen this with Pierre Gasly, a driver that showed so much promise in the first couple of seasons with Toro Rosso, the season and a bit really, at Toro Rosso. Got that promotion to Red Bull, really didn't work out, got that demotion, and once the pressure was off, Gasly was really able to thrive, put in some sublime performances, a podium at the Brazilian Grand Prix at the end of the season last year. This season he has been incredible, driver of the season for me, and of course, who could forget that incredible race win at Monza? And your end result is Gasly's credibility and public perception of his ability in a Formula 1 car has skyrocketed. And whereas 12 months ago there were so many people saying Gasly wasn't good enough for Formula 1 at all, you can already see how that's completely switched around in 2020. In an ideal world, Albon could do the exact same. Move back to AlphaTauri, build himself back up piece by piece, bring back that confidence, score some big results for a smaller team, work his way back to proving to everyone he is the real deal, and maybe wiggling his way back into the Red Bull seat. Unlike Gasly, Albon didn't have a full season of racing before he jumped into that Red Bull seat. So I think Albon, over Gasly, really deserves that opportunity to go back to the smaller team and to prove himself. The only difference, the real difference I can see though between Gasly going back to AlphaTauri and Albon going back to AlphaTauri is if indeed Alex goes to AlphaTauri next season, his teammate will be Pierre Gasly. 2 drivers wanting to prove to Red Bull they're the man they need in that car for 2022. It might get a little bit much. It might boil over. From a Red Bull point of view, what an awesome opportunity to have these 2 young guns that they gave an opportunity, it didn't work out. Now we've got a chance to see them head to head. And I think that little bit of added motivation for both drivers, Gasly to continue sticking it to Red Bull like he's tried to do all year, and for Albon to prove that, yeah, he is better than Gasly. Here you go, boys, let me prove it to you in equal machinery. I think that could spur both of them on quite nicely. And certainly, it would be one of the spiciest head-to-head teammate battles we have seen for years in Formula 1. The big issue here, though, isn't with Albon returning to AlphaTauri. I think that would be a fantastic opportunity for the team, for Red Bull, and for Alex. The biggest issue is Yuki Tsunoda. Red Bull youngster in Formula 2, multiple wins this season, and despite not impressing massively in lower categories, in Formula 2, he's doing a really good job this year and thoroughly deserves an opportunity, maybe not next season, but at least in the next couple of years. Red Bull, however, with their partnership with Honda ending in 2021, they are looking to maybe fast-track Yuki's progression into Formula 1, and it's looking increasingly likely, week by week, day by day, that he is going to get the drive for AlphaTauri alongside Pierre Gasly. Of course, that would mean no room for Alex Albon, and if Red Bull do not decide to keep him at their Big Daddy team, where does he go? What options are left? And the answer is not many. There's a seat at Mercedes, but I'm pretty sure Hamilton's going to be taking that one, and I highly doubt if Lewis Hamilton did decide to shock the world and retire from Formula 1 at the end of this year, I don't think Albon would be Mercedes' number 1 choice. Alfa Romeo, they've been signed up. Williams, they've been signed up. There is a seat at Aston Martin, but again, I think Lance Stroll's got that one pretty much nailed on for next year. However, there is one final team that I think could take the chance on Alex Albon, and I do have this gut feeling, you got to bear with me here, but I really do feel this could work out quite nicely for both parties, and that's Haas F1, a team that have come out very clear. Neither Kevin Magnussen or Romain Grosjean will remain with the team for next season. They've also been clear there is a list of up to 15 drivers. First of all, that's ridiculous, but also that's a huge opportunity for those 15 drivers to stay or maybe make their debut on the Formula 1 grid. It looks like at the moment, Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin are the two favourites. But what if Alex Albon was available? A driver who has scored a podium in Formula 1, who has got that little bit of experience. It's not a lot, but certainly it's more than two rookies that they could potentially have. Alex is a driver who's proven he's pretty awesome at overtaking and working his way through the field, which is great for a backmarker team like Haas. Alex is a driver obviously trying to prove himself, redeem himself in Formula 1. And I think from all of those perspectives, he's a driver Haas should seriously consider. However, perhaps the one sticking point, the one feature that Albon has that drivers like Danny Kvyat, Sergio Perez, Nico Hülkenberg don't have is financial backing. Albon sponsors, they do bring the dollar. They will help out a team like Haas. And Haas have been very, very clear. Their two new drivers need to bring money. It's why Schumacher, partnered with that Ferrari Junior team, appears to be the favourite for the seat. But it's also why Nikita Mazepin, a driver who's been pretty strong this year in Formula 2, it's why he's being so strongly linked with that second seat, bringing funding from his father, from his family, to the Haas team, potentially buying out shares and a part of the team. If Albon was available, maybe the team might consider to favour that little bit of experience. Yes, the funding from Albon isn't quite as much as Nikita Mazepin, but it might just be enough for them to say, you know what, we can take a gamble on Albon. He can show Schumacher the ropes. For Mick Schumacher as well, if he does indeed get that other seat at Haas, I think that's a solid driver to be up against in his first season of Formula 1. For him to prove himself, for him to develop against a driver who's been within a top team and has something to prove. And I think altogether, an Albon-Schumacher lineup with a nice bit of financial backing could really do wonders for the Haas F1 team. Mazepin is certainly an unknown quantity. Hülkenberg, Perez, Kvyat, more so Hülkenberg and Perez, you're going to get drivers there that are so consistent and 1 million gajillion % deserve a space on the Formula 1 grid. But at the moment, in a post-COVID world, money's talks. And at the back of the Formula 1 grid, it speaks louder than anything. So if Albon can find the funds, if Haas can have a little bit of wiggle room, I think this could be an awesome opportunity. How likely is it? I'm not too sure. Albon's chances at Red Bull seem to be fleeting by the day. AlphaTauri seem to be getting closer and closer to Tsunoda. How many more races is Albon going to have in Formula 1? I hope it's more than this season, but we're just going to have to wait and see. Thank you all very much for watching. I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Is there a move that I've not even mentioned that you think would be a great option for Albon next year? Let me know down below. Thank you all for watching. If you are new, feel free to subscribe, and I hope to see you all in the next one.